no windows. I don't get it, but that's what they do. I'm sitting out there with Charlie, Ely, and Megan. They're talking about Megan trying to move out. And Charlie starts complaining that she doesn't know how she's gonna pay the rent, and she doesn't know what she's gonna do. And she starts asking me, "Well, Mike, where are you living?" You know, it's not really anywhere. You know, I'm just bouncing around from place to place. You know, I just live everywhere but nowhere. You know, not homeless. I just never find me anywhere for too long. Well, she asked me if I wanted to move in and try to help paying rent, and she asked me all I had to do was pay half of it. Really wasn't much. You know, she told me I could tattoo here at the house, and I don't gotta go place. I can have the people come here, and, you know, I can hang out there and do whatever I want to do there. Sounded pretty good. Well, I'm not gonna sleep on the couch, so I told her, you know, when Megan and Jeremy Randall, when they move out to go wherever they were moving to, I told them I'd move in. Well, that was still like about 2 weeks away. We ended up going back to Amber and Kyle's house, their parents' house, which is only about a block away. We're over there hanging out, and you know, me and Amber used to be pretty close, just not so much close anymore, but we used to be, you know, fairly close before I went off into my own thing for that like 6 months. She pulls me aside. We're in the room on the computer listening to music. And she had me, you know, "Mike, can I talk to you?" I said, you know, "Yeah, what's up?" She said,
"Objection, hearsay."
Sustained. You can't say specifically what she told you, but you can tell what you did in regards to what she told you.
"Oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna do that." I told her she had to go talk to her mom, I guess. I don't know how to get around that, but try.
Do the best you can.
Well, told her to go talk to her mom. She went and talked to her mom. Her mom started freaking out, you know, because something happened. And Amber went off to go handle the situation. She went to go break up with Seth. I come out, you know, I'm sitting there with her mom after, you know, she talked to her mom. I'm sitting there and her mom's going off. Her mom's going off talking about, you know, "I can't believe."
Objection, hearsay.
I'm going to afford some leeway. Go ahead.
Her mom was going off about she can't believe her daughter put up with that. You don't want me to go into what Amber said. I won't go into it, but she's saying she can't believe that her daughter put up with that, and she's just going off and she's pissed, you know. And Kyle comes in the room and is asking what's going on, and Amber's mom tells Kyle what happened. Kyle goes off the deep end, you know, that's his sister, and, you know, him and his sister fight like hell, but they, you know, that's his sister, and damn anybody else does anything to her. Well, he's going off, and I just, you know, I'm getting kind of aggravated. I just wanted to leave. You know, walk outside, smoke a cigarette or something. I remember I walk out, Amber's sitting on the steps right there outside the front door, and she's got the phone like this, and it's on speakerphone. And I walk out, and when I walk out and I hear it, it's just, I don't know how to describe it. There's yelling back and forth, and I hear my name come up, you know, "Fuck Mike," excuse my language, you know, sorry, but he F Mike, and, you know, when I see him, let him know, you know, I'm coming after him, and I walked out into this, and I'm, you know, what the hell? You know, what are you talking about? You know, but I don't say nothing because I'm sitting here listening, and what I ended up hearing was he thought that she was cheating on me because I'm always there, and that's why she was leaving him. Well, he's sitting there, he's going off. You know, he's going off, and I'm staying quiet. You know, I'm not one to stick my nose in business that's not mine. You know, but he's going off. He's just going off. Well, they end up hanging up, and, you know, I chalked up. You know, he's got his heart stomped on. You know, I've been there before. You know, 15. I know how it feels. You know, I really do. And it just, you know, I chalked up as that. You know, he just, you know, he's hurt. So I'm just, you know, I figure in about a week or so he'll move on from that. You know, the drama will die down like it always does. You know, with kid drama, it always dies down. Well, obviously it didn't, but about a couple days go by. He comes by to pick up his stuff. There's words, not with me, but between him and Amber. And I'm just, I'm sitting back. I'm actually inside the house because I'm not gonna go out there and, further the problem. I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him, and he's just, he's cussing her out, and I'm just, Kyle, he goes off on the deep end. He goes out there trying to start stuff, and it ends up bad. He ends up, his mom ends up driving off with him hanging halfway out the window, cussing out Kyle and Amber, and it's just, it was ridiculous. Things died down for a little bit. There was a lot of text messages back and forth, and Amber would sit there and take the phone, like, you see what he's saying? And I'd tell her, why are you entertaining it? If you want it to stop, you stop texting him. You give him a concert, he's gonna play the crowd. Stop. Well, they kept going back and forth and whatever. Well, remember we were hanging out at we were hanging out at the tiki bar to left the house again. It's only a few more days later. We're sitting out there drinking a beer. I remember because I'm sitting out there, I was drinking a beer, and Amber gets a text from Seth or a phone call or something. He's talking about, I'll be there in 30 minutes. You better be outside, telling Amber to tell me. Well, I'm sitting out there, I'm just, I don't want no problems. I really don't, I'm very, I don't know how to put it. I avoid problems as much as possible. I really do. I don't picked on my whole life, I try. I'm a little guy. I avoid problems as much as I can. Well, hour goes by, same thing back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Be there in 30 minutes. Just goes back and forth. This goes on for like 2-3 hours. Finally, here comes like 8, 9, 10 people, teens, between the age of like, 15, 19, coming down the street. There's like 10 of them. They're coming down the street, and I'm sitting at the tiki bar, me, Amber, and Kyle, and he's going off, why don't you come outside? He's talking trash. I'm not gonna say exactly what he said, but he's talking trash. And I just, I'm fed up with it. I look at him and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's the point? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? I mean, he's showing out for his friends. But I just let him talk trash. He'll leave. I told him, you don't talk trash. That's fine. Just do it while you're leaving. It just keeps going on, and Amber's dad ends up going out there, and there's words back and forth. Kyle goes back out there and gets in his face, and it pushing, shoving going on, and I go out there to I'd rather try to stop some of this. Try to explain to him, like, I'm not dating Amber. You need to chill. I don't know what your problem is. Well, I start walking out there. Tracy Wright, Amber and Kyle's mom, she calls my dad, thinking I'm going out there to fight or something. Well, here comes my dad pulling in a minivan coming down this dirt road full of potholes, doing like 40. He doesn't know what's going on. He gets ranting, phone call from Tracy. He gets out, he's worried about, what's going on. I'm trying to tell everybody, everybody just needs to chill, no one's fighting, I'm trying to stop this. Somebody, right about now, half the neighborhood's out there. We got like 8, 9, 10 kids over here. On this side of me, there's half the freaking neighborhood, and it's just, well, somebody calls Seth's parents, they show up. I even went over there and I shook his dad's hand. I said, look, I'm the one your son has a problem with. I don't know I don't know why he has this problem with me, but it's ridiculous. My dad was there by that time, and we're sitting there. My dad told him, I don't need to be having to come down here because your son's starting stuff with my son. I don't want to get a phone call when my son kicks your son's ass. And I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was his dad that literally said this. He said, well, maybe he needs his ass kicked.
Hearsay, Your Honor.
I'm affording some leeway.
Well, he said maybe he needs his ass kicked. And you know, at this point, you know, it's gotten kind of old. You know, either it's gonna be, you know, it's either gonna come to a head, or it's just gonna keep going on. And at that point, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm all for it. You know, if it'll appease him and he'll stop. You know. Well, when they realized that, you know, it was gonna come down to it, end up being a fight. Want to say it was his mom or his dad. One of them said, well, just so you know, if you get into a fight with him and he loses, he's been known to call the cops. I don't get along with cops. I never have. You know, there's a long history of you know, from family stuff. You know, I call the cops, you know, because I got a black eye and I get arrested. You know, I don't trust cops. I don't. You know, and somebody brought up the word about cops. I'm just, you know, that turned me off from that whole thing. You know, I want no part of that. Well, neighbors got out. This guy named, I want to say Gary, short redneck dude. He comes out and he tells this kid, you know, you need to leave. He gets pushing him down the road. You know, you need to leave. And finally, he ends up leaving. Somebody called the cops. I think it was Officer Resnick was the one that showed up. And he even said, because we told him what happened, and he said, well, from what you guys are telling me, that if this happens again, go ahead and kick his ass. He told me that. He said that. He said, I'm gonna chalk it up as he got what was coming to him. That's what he told me. Well, then my dad brought up that his family was talking about he calling the cops. So well, you know, if the cops do get called, something has to be done. And he's talking about, because he is 15 and I was 18 at the time, I could get in, you know, in trouble for child abuse. You know, this kid's like 5'11", 185 pounds. I'm 5'4", weighing 125 pounds. You're trying to get me for child abuse. I'm not gonna go to jail for that. You're crazy. You know? I'm just gonna let it. You know, I'm gonna let it ride. I don't want no part of that. And my dad even he wanted me to have no part of that. Well, the officer said, if another incident happens, something else happens, call me, I'll come back out. Because I guess he was a friend of the family for Amber and Charlie. Or Amber and Kyle. My bad. Well, a few more days go by, and me, Amber, and Kyle were at my house. In fact, there's woods across from my house, and my grandparents are, you know, they're elderly people. You know, they're from the age where, you know, pot's really bad. You know, well, we were across the street, you know, in the woods smoking a joint. You know, you can't do that from my grandparents; they'd freak. But we were coming back, and here comes Seth riding by on a bike. Riding by on a bike by himself, giving me a dirty look. I got you. He rides by. He goes by. We go back up in my garage, and we get Amber starts getting text messages or phone calls, one of the two, about half an hour later, talking about, why don't you tell him to come outside? He starts talking trash. I look outside. I don't see nobody. Well, I look up the road, and he's up on the road with him and like 4 other people on bikes. You know, he was by himself. Now he's got 4 people, so now he's back. Well, he's up there, and he's going off. You know, I go out there, you know, just 'cause I'm tired of it. You know, my grandma tells me to come back in, and that was, you know, somebody called the cops, which, you know, Officer Resnick was the one who came out. And Officer Resnick came out and said, you know, what Seth ended up doing, when he ended up pulling down his pants and moving to my grandma came out to tell him to leave. Like, my grandma's like in her 60s, you know, I couldn't believe that when that happened. But officer got called. Officer Resnick came out and responded to this. He came out and said, well, because we can't find him, we don't know where he's at, we can't do nothing about it. So, well, we asked him to at least get a temporary restraining order put on him, you know. Keep him away from me, keep him away from my family. Don't want no problems with this dude. I don't want no problems with anybody. Can you please just put a temporary restraining order on him? Because they won't go arrest him for what he did. They won't do anything. So I said, all right. They said, Officer Redden said, I'll put out a, you know, TRO, temporary restraining order. If he comes back by, just call us. I said, all right. That was about it. Say about things actually died down after that. Things died down pretty significantly. About a week went by. I didn't hear nothing. There was no problems. Things seemed to be pretty cool. Well, I think Megan and Jeremy, they end up moving out. I end up moving in. They end up moving out and I end up moving in. I move in, I want to say it was somewhere around, maybe around the 10th. I wasn't there for maybe at the most a week and a half at the most. Moved in around the 10th, and literally like the day I moved in, Kyle Hooper moved in too. Now Kyle and Charlie had, I don't know what they had going on. I really don't. It's just I don't know. But they had something going on, and Charlie thought she was pregnant, and Kyle was, thinking it was his, and it was, I don't know, I let them ride out that boat. I didn't know what to say about that. But we're sitting there. Excuse me. Kyle works at McDonald's. So he goes off and he works at McDonald's, and he's bringing, he's helping pay the rent, putting food in the house, helping pay the rent. Not really there too often. Let's see. A couple days after I'm living there, because Kyle does, they do, Kyle and Soto, because Jeremy moved out, but Kyle and Soto are still doing their, their meth thing, and they gotten in that bath salt stuff, which, at the time it's, it's being sold over the counter, so I really don't have a problem with it being done around me, It's legal, or it was. They'd stay up for nights at a time on that stuff, though. I want to say somewhere within that week, I think it might have been like, I don't know, 13th maybe. We're hanging out. Kyle came home from work, and he asked about trying to, what he did was he came to my door and he knocked on my door and he said, "Mike, can I talk to you?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He said, somebody wants to buy your gun.
Hearsay.
I'm going to sustain that objection. Let's move forward, please.
Well, I guess we have to move on. Well, a couple nights later, maybe 3 or 4, me and Kyle actually got into it a couple times over the gun. But somebody wanted to buy it, and me and him got into it. But I can't say that, I guess. Getting kind of difficult.
We discussed hearsay. You don't say what somebody said, just say what you did as a result of it.
A problem with it. I don't want to help. The kid had a problem. He's 16. He's got a problem with dope, and I can see it because there's stuff going missing, stuff being pawned. Sold his laptop, sold his Xbox. He did. Sold everything but the shirt off his back. Well, there's a guy at his work that wants to buy my gun off of me, and I only paid $200 for this gun. I didn't. I only paid $200 for this gun. Wasn't nothing special, but I didn't want to sell it because it was gonna use. I'd have got my money back with some still, but he was gonna get dope from it, and I didn't want to help him do that. I don't like dope. Methamphetamines. I don't like it. It has literally destroyed. A big chunk of my family, and I can't stand it. But we got into it, yelling at each other. He ended up storming out, Amber came in, stuck her nose in it, told me I'm wrong. A couple days later, he comes and apologizes to me. It ends up getting back into the same subject though. I tried telling him, I tell him, I think you got a problem. I don't want to help you do that. I don't want to help you get that kind of stuff. And it ended up turning into a fight, not a physical fight, but it blew up. Hate being called an addict. He just snapped on me. Couple days go by. A couple days went by. I kind of pretty much avoided everybody. I just wasn't clicking with everybody at that point. I just wanted to avoid everybody. Well, what was it? It was Soto, Kyle, Charlie, and Amber. They're out in the living room watching TV. Everybody's out there having a good time, laughing. I want to go out there and have a good time too. I had just bought an 18-pack of beer. I got some pot. I go out there to hang out with everybody too. I go out there, and when I go out there, we hang out. It's kind of like passing old peace pipe. Just build that, mend that fence. We're all hanging out. Soto, somebody I think in a white minivan, somebody came and picked him up. Yeah, somebody came and picked him up, and that left, that pretty much left me, Amber, Charlie, and Kyle. Well, they had some show that was coming on. Some girly Desperate Housewives type stuff, something I wouldn't watch. And I told them, I don't want to watch this. We ended up taking their TV and putting it in their room for them. Me and Kyle started hung out in my room, with the stereo up. Well, we're sitting there, and he's sitting there on his phone texting. Now this had to been, it couldn't have been, but maybe not even the 14th, maybe the 15th. And he's sitting there texting on his phone. I know as I'm looking over, and he's got this look on his face, like an upset look. And I ask him, he's over there grunting, he's texting. I ask him, I say, what's wrong? What's going on? Oh, nothing. Alyssa.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
Am I allowed to at least describe who Alyssa is, though? How I know her at least.
You can describe how you know her, but not what she said.
All right, that's fine. Alyssa is Kyle's. Well, I don't know if it was his girlfriend or not, but he had a real obsession with her. He loved this girl to death. He was pretty bad about her. Well, something happened where she broke up with him, and he throws the phone. I remember I went down to pick up something on the side of my bed. I was sitting there smoking a cigarette. Someone went down to pick up something. I see this black phone just go flying out of the corner of my eye and hit my wall, and just the back come off. The battery went one way, the back went another, the phone went another direction. I asked him, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's standing up, and he's just,